Hey, my friends, what's going on? Keder here on a beautiful, beautiful day, my friend. Pound that for watching this video. Pow! So, guys, I'm actually making this video today. Pay attention, pay attention. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching live, what's up with you this morning? How you doing? How you feeling? Let me know where you're watching from. Like this video, share it. Share it with someone that might find some value in this video. Someone might find some value. So today, guys, I want to talk about paying attention, okay? Pay attention. If you want to attract massive success in your life, you got to pay attention. Now, sometimes we pay attention to the wrong things. Now, if you're watching, let me know where you're watching from. Leave a comment down below. I want to get to know you guys. What's going on with you? What you guys doing today? What's up with your life? So there was a time in my life I was paying attention to the wrong things, right? The stuff that wasn't getting me the results that I want. Now, in order for you to attract what you want, you got to start paying attention. Now, what's really important is not really to what you pay attention, it's who you pay attention to. Like whatever that you want to find the people who's creating the results at a way higher level. And then you start paying attention not to the person, but to how they do it, right? So one of my mentors told me, "Hey, Keder, Emo Cali in the house. What's up, Lisa?" So he said, "Keder, you need to start paying attention. Not just has everybody watch like this video that I'm doing right now. People can just scroll by, like on Facebook, people can just scroll by. But when you pay attention to what the person is doing, there's a mental transaction. Even when I was going to training, like in the beginning, I'll go to training, I still wasn't getting results. I'm like, dude, what's going on, man? I want to change my life. I'm not getting the results that I want. My life is not changing. And he's like, pay attention. You're not paying attention. So when I started paying attention, there's a mental transaction. There's something that you got to give. Like paying attention to how people that were successful is how they were doing things, the difference they had versus people who wasn't successful. So, I started paying attention to how they carry themselves, to how they speak, what they do, how they do it. It was crazy how the same person would get the same training. Two people would get the same training and one person would go and have astronomical results. They will create some massive value, amazing stuff in their life. And someone else would get the same training with the same amount of time and they won't get the same results. It always boggled my mind that it's not the training, but it's really how they do things. So when you start paying attention on how people that are successful, what are the thought process, what are they thinking? One time I met up with one of my mentors. This guy is making billions. He's already hit $1 billion in his business. And one of the main questions, I remember we was hanging out in a yacht in Miami. And one of the main questions that I asked him was, how did you do it? Like a lot of people will get concentrated on the event, the fact that, hey, he's a billionaire, whatever the case is. But is the mental attitude. Right, that's what you want to start focusing on. What's going on, Matt? How you doing today? So you want to start paying attention to people. Whenever I get into a field, the first thing that you want to do is to pay attention to how people do things. I remember growing up, I paid attention to the wrong things and not getting the results that I want. But when I start paying attention to the right thing now, it was like, boom, it was an eye opener. I remember one time. Here's the thing. Sometimes you gotta pay to get what you want. There was a time I was in my business. I was making decent money. It was great. And I wanted to get to the next level. I saw a guy who was doing things differently. He was really making a killing. Then I said to myself, okay, I need to get on board with this guy to figure out what the hell he's doing. Sometimes you know the answer. You know what you gotta do, but you have to see it done. Like you have to see someone who's doing it right and who's getting the type of results that you want. It's like going to the gym. And you can go to the gym, you work out, like I go to the gym, but it's totally different when you get a personal trainer. Now, I'm not talking about you get a personal trainer who doesn't have the results that you want. And it's kind of crazy. Like if you fat and you at the gym, you're a personal trainer, most likely people won't go for your service. Now, I'm talking about a personal trainer who's fit, who's into the fitness, who's doing what they're telling you, to do. So it's totally crazy when you get a personal trainer to actually work out with you. I promise you, they will push you to get a different type of results a lot faster. Certain things that you don't pay attention to yourself when you're working out by yourself or on your own, But soon you get a personal trainer on board, your workout totally changed. You could be doing the same thing. Maybe it's an extra rep. Maybe it's correcting the way that you're holding the weight, whatever. But just that little touch will start changing things. It was the same thing. I knew what to do, but I needed someone who was doing it right, who was getting the type of results that I wanted. Soon I got into his coaching, right? His coaching, I had to pay $10K to get into it. I remember that was my first time paying $10,000 for a coaching program. And I was scared as hell. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Paying $10K, that's a lot of money. You know, I've never paid $10K. I never invested in myself. And it's crazy. I've invested over $70,000 in a college degree that I never even used. I never made a dime. This hurts. Let me digest this one. I never made a dime off my college degree. Not even one day, all right? But I never had any pain. When I go to school, they make it look like, yo, just get a student loan. You know, you go to the student loan office and they say, hey, just sign here. You get $5,000 for this class. You get $10,000. You covered for the semester. You don't have to worry about it. Little do you know, as a kid, you know, you in college, you're foolish. You're getting all these loans. You think like it's free money. You go and spend it on crazy stuff. And then boom, it hits you on later on in the future after you get out of school. So, but that money never hurt. But when you start investing into yourself now, which I find it totally crazy and ironic, like people, they want the best results out of their business, but they are scared. And it was me. I had this fearful mentality where, hey, I didn't want to invest into myself. But soon I passed that, I overcome that fear and I said, hey, you know what? This guy's having the results that I want. I want to pay attention to what he's doing. I know I get a lot of free training for free. I see how a lot of people are doing it, but I want to see how he does what he does, right? So, you know, my story short, first day I invested $10K. The next day I did 20. It was crazy. I mean, it sounds like cliche, like sometimes people say it, but what I did, I went inside and I saw his structure. I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't have a structure. Like I didn't know how to structure it. So when I went and saw his structure and I was like, dude, wait, I could do this stuff. Let me just put it all together. That's what I want. I just want the structure. So literally I paid $20K, not for the training, not for him to coach me. Matter of fact, we only had a conversation for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I remember going into a live coaching he did. You know, the conversation was 5 minutes. It was like, hey, dude, Keder, what's going on? Welcome to the coaching, whatever. And then show me what you got to, what you working on right now. And then I showed him I was about to come out with one of my product called Ultimate Cash Flow Process. You guys can even check out the website. It's called Ultimate Cash Flow Process. And then he was like, dude, you got it. That's amazing. Awesome product. That's it. That's all the conversation we had for $10,000. But here's the thing. Paying attention made me $20K the next day. See, here's the thing. It's totally different. While there's other people who pays $10K to get into the program, but not paying attention, they get nothing out of it. Or maybe they whining, oh man, I don't get anything. But on the other end, I came in on the same day. Look, I pay attention to his structure. How does he structure his funnel? What does he have and how the structure goes? And sometimes that's what you need. You need foundation. You need to pay attention to the people that has the structures. How do they structure this stuff? And then all you got to do is go and duplicate the structure for yourself. Boom. And that's the secret that I want to share with you, is to really pay attention to the people that are making a differences in whatever field that you in. The people that are making a difference, the people that are killing it, that are crushing it, pay attention to how they do things. Most of the time it's not what they do, it's how they do it. And that was a powerful secret for me. When I understood that, it took my business to a whole next level. It took my life to a whole next level. So now I start looking at mentors differently. Not start looking at their results, specifically of the results they have. Oh, they make this, they make that. But I start looking at how they do it. And then how can I implement it in my sphere? Boom, results. So hopefully that makes sense to you. You don't think this is a live? Yeah, this is a live, man. This is a Facebook live. So you are live. Or if you're watching YouTube, probably won't be live on YouTube. But this is a live. But if you do have any questions, drop it down below. If you do find some value in this stuff, you know, if you follow me, pay attention to what I do. Like how. Now, I'm giving you hints now. If you want to create freedom, there was a time in my life, guys, I was so broke. You know, it was crazy. I was going to school, my electricity was getting cut off. It was nuts, man. I remember my internet being cut off. I had to go to the library to make my business work so I can find internet. To the point that I was so tired of going to the library. I decided to go on YouTube and figure out how can I hack the password of the internet that was closest to me. And if I heard all this, I learned all this crazy stuff about WPA, WPE, and how you can get the passcode and all the crazy stuff. Now I don't learn that stuff anymore, but that was to the point I had to do that and learn how to get passwords for internet. It's crazy. And then, you know, what I'm saying in this video, guys, is the pattern. You know, you start growing. Am I a hacker? Yeah, you can learn that stuff on YouTube for free. Yeah, so it was crazy. And then, you know, I got my internet back, and I start growing and start pushing. But then I start paying attention to the high rollers, how they were doing things, what they were doing, how the funnels were structured, you know, how they conduct a business. I started investing into myself. I started reading like crazy. Every bit of information I start finding, you know, like Gary V, Grant Cardone, all these guys. I started reading all these books. I started ordering them like by a boatload, like every book. Grant Cardone, I have all his books. So I just ordered in a boatload, sent it to my house, and start reading every single day. Then I started investing into my head and start following how these guys were doing things and start implementing the stuff in my business and my life. And I could tell you, it's been making a powerful difference. So what I'm saying in this video, pay attention to the people you pay attention to that have the results that you want. Pay attention to how they do things. And if you want to get similar results, you want to do things the way that you can involve and do things the way they do things, okay? But anyway, guys, hope this video was valuable to you and you can take yourself to the next level. Remember, the word is paying attention. You paying for it. There's a mental transaction. If you're watching a training, if you see someone that has some type of success, pay attention. Pay attention. Don't just watch the training and just sit back. Yeah, you get your Coke, relaxing. Oh, you trolling on Facebook or you trolling on YouTube, looking at other stuff, but you're not paying attention. Pay attention to those people. How do they move? What do they say? How do they do the things? And that's the main secret. So I paid $10K just to find out how someone did what they do. I paid attention to what they do, and the next day I made $12,000. Yeah, and the next day I made like 12K. And that little program, that little format, you know, the foundation itself has already made me so much. Then my investment is totally crazy, but I paid attention. Pay attention to details. You know, I don't remember the Dallas Mavericks owner. You know, he's one of the entrepreneur a lot of people knows. And I remember one of his first book, I read part of his story where he talks about where he was working in computers. And the reason why he started creating a lot more income on the side was people was calling him and he was giving them answer that was in the manual, like in the computer manual. Literally, they couldn't read that stuff, but a lot of people started booking him outside of his job to go fix their computer, which if they open up the manual, boom, there goes the information. Why? He started making a lot of money and started understanding people to a whole next level and create, you know, now he's a billionaire, but you understand he's paying attention to the how, to the details that other people might have access to, but they're not paying attention. So pay close attention to what you want. Pay close attention to the people that has what you want. Find mentors that can help you take your life to the next level and keep pushing, keep growing. Anyway, guys, hopefully this video was valuable to you. That was Keder. Appreciate you. Share this video, like it, give it a thumbs up. Let somebody else knows what's up. I'll see you guys on the next one. What the hell did you tell them in 5 minutes? What did I tell them in 5 minutes? Ben says it wasn't really what I said to them to make the money. It's the structure. It's the structure of what I needed to create. So in 5 minutes, I'm not sure how the question is. Is it how I create my income the next day after my investment, or what did I say to them in 5 minutes? Don't really get it. But Ben, I didn't really get the question. But anyway, what I meant is the structure was there and I followed the structure, and then boom, I automatically knew what I had to do. just from following the structure, not even from the training, not even from talking to him, just from following the foundation and the structure. So sometimes we need to step back, pay attention to our surrounding, pay attention to what's going on, pay attention. It will make a big change in your life. All right, see you guys later. Bye.